In the Season 2021 livestream, we learned that the next 3 champions to be released following Viego will be tied to his return. A magic damage fighter related to sewing, it's almost certainly Isolde, since they describe the champion using sewing words. The image used to tease the champion is a sewing needle, and when Senna saw the spirit of the queen, it was described as a trio of luminous filaments that rose from the sea. They turned and twisted, knitting together into a brilliant silhouette of hallowed light that gradually formed into the spirit of a young woman. During the story, Senna's body was shifting between her human and wraith forms. She awoke on hard-packed earth. Her human form had returned, a naked, knotted cord covered in a dusting of cinders and ash. The spirit of this girl mentions that she tried to rip herself out of Senna, but she didn't know how. Not to mention that Isolde in life was a poor seamstress. Her loyalty may lie with either Viego or Senna and Lucian. Viego being a physical damage dealer and Isolde being a magic damage dealer would also be a good mirror. An easter egg for her will be in the Ruined King game. I believe her magic will be yellow, which is the color associated with Senna's light powers, the power of life, which came from the powerful soul inside her. The Baru also use some yellow magic to repel the darkness of the Isles. These are likely related. We'll also get a gloomy
artillery
mage tired of Bendel City, who willingly chose to travel to the Shadow Isles. And finally, a new Sentinel of Light, a marksman for a non-traditional position, meaning not an ADC, and likely not a support as well, since we already have Senna. If you consider Riot's plan of releasing at least 1 top laner, 1 jungler, an ADC, a support, and 2 mid laners, a mage and a melee assassin, per year, this new marksman will likely be a mid laner. We will also be getting a new lore-themed skin line called Ruin. The 3 champions chose for this line are from the 3 regions affected by the mist in the Ruination cinematic, and their bios mention a second Ruination, the first one being the one that turned the Blessed Isles into what they are today. So I assume the second would turn other regions as we see in these splashes. Riot referred to this event as being similar to Spirit Blossom in terms of being based on the lore, so I don't expect the skins to be canon, instead being references to what's happening to canon Runeterra. We know that the Ruined King is raiding catacombs to find something, and we know this something is a way to save Isolde. This is possibly a hint towards something that Viego searches, which is not only in Ionia, but also maybe in Demacia and the Immortal Bastion. And what is this something? Well, I've been assuming that Isolde's soul was in Senna. What if only a fraction was, and other parts are hidden, like in Sentinel Vaults, the Immortal Bastion, Ionia, maybe inside Thresh's Lantern, and maybe inside the Maiden? Would be interesting, and maybe fit the theme of her being a seamstress, having to get her parts back together. It could also explain why Riot mentioned that her loyalty may lie with either Viego or Senna. It's perhaps because some parts of her are good and others are not. It's also curious to mention that in Legends of Runeterra cards from Demacia and the Shadow Isles show that Demacia also wants to put an ending to the Isles' curse. I wonder if this began with Demacia being invaded by the mist as we see in the cinematic. Either way, we can see Demacian soldiers fighting against the spirits of the Isles and losing in various cards. On a final note, in the trailers for the Ruined King, we learn that Thresh is going to have a major role in the plot of the game, which makes sense since Thresh is greatly responsible for the ruination of the Shadow Isles, having been the one who led the king to the waters of life. At the end of the trailer, we see a figure standing in the middle of a vortex made of black mist. The camera then zooms, revealing it to be Viego. However, the figure's head resembles Thresh more than it does Viego, even having no neck. I wonder if they are trying to fool us with this trailer. We know that Thresh has no alliances but to himself, and the suffering caused by the king is something he very much enjoys, so it will be interesting to see their relationship in the game. It was Thresh's power that struck Senna, and I do see the figure in the trailer surrounded by lightning. I wonder if his old soul was split into parts, and if Thresh does in fact have a piece of her in his lantern. My theory for now is that it was Thresh who woke the king from his 1000-year slumber. I'm pretty sure that in this specific scene they will add more characters, and those characters are likely going to be Lucian and Senna, as they sailed with the rest of the champions to fight the Ruined King. Okay, going off script now. In November I made this Ruined King bingo using a template someone else made, and these were predictions for the actual Ruined King game. But I got some things right. For example, the Ruined King getting stabbed with his own sword, obviously not in the game, but in his bio it mentions that, and Vladimir's past was also something that I got right. So yeah, just wanted to share this because I thought it was funny.